to earth. Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Do you remember?
So I'm here to talk about heart and mind, and of course I have lots to share, and mostly I want to take you all in this moment, because truly our journey has been all about, the whole basis of Science of Mind teaching is love and law. You see, the law is the mind and the heart is the love. So this is a topic that embraces the whole philosophy of all faith paths. It's a journey you've already been on. And it's just so interesting to take the mind and to watch our mind. And I had a little experience this weekend with my daughter. I don't get to spend a whole lot of time with her. She only lives in Berkeley, but it's a distance to drive, and I have a lot of commitments on the weekend. So, but she was performing, and I had a chance to go watch her perform, which was beautiful. And I talked about that at the earlier service. But there was another moment. She's taking sign language as another language, and she goes, "Oh, Mom, I have to share with you my final." And she said, "I had to come up with a story from my past, and I wanted to share that with you." And so right away, my first thought was, oh, it's going to be a really sweet little memory of her and I, of something that happened. And then when she started to tell the story, I thought, uh-oh, it's one of those. It's one of those that you tell your therapist something about. And then I recognized, I thought, in her mind, in the grooves of her mind, I dwell in those experiences. And it was, as a mother, I was like, whoa, am I ready for this one? And it started, getting all caught up in myself. And then I realized, oh, she's showing me something. And she's very, well, with sign language, you become very demonstrative. And she has these, you think I have long fingers up here. She's got like really long fingers. So when she speaks and when she's doing her sign language and the expression of character that she's created, you just get totally wrapped up in her story. So she's doing all the little hand movements and taking Charlie and I on this journey of when she was a little girl as a brownie. And I had sent her to school in her brownie outfit because we didn't have time to go home and change afterwards. So we had to go from picking up from school, that kind of journey for a child. They don't have much free time because we're creating their life for them. So I had her in brownies, and she said at lunch, she spilled her soy milk on her brownie outfit, and she looked down and she goes, oh, I don't get to go home afterwards. I'm going to have all this white on my gown. My mom's not going to be very happy. And then as she was telling that part, I thought, I don't think I would have cared that much, but here, defending her memory. And then she said, so she got an idea. She went to the playground, and she saw the dirt, and she saw the dirt's brown. So she got down, and she just got all dirty. So she had not only the stinky soy milk, but then dirt on top of that. But she's signing this all to me, and she felt very proud at accomplishing this goal of creating the brownie uniform again. She said, until I came to pick her up, and I just went, what? And who knows what else I said. I don't know. What, my beloved child, have you done? It's really okay in the big world of all love. Who knows what I did, but it was enough of a memory that she knew that it wasn't right. But I love the play. Here her heart was restored in a moment when she thought she resolved the whole issue, and then it was destroyed in the next moment by a simple look from the mother. And that's how life goes. But here, many years later, we have this sweet laugh about a moment of time in a brownie outfit. That's how the mind and the heart are always doing this dance, aren't they? So the title for the talk comes from the inspirations of this wonderful book, The Heart Songs, Everyday Prayers and Meditations from Sri Chinmoy. And he does speak about mind and heart so beautifully. throughout his writings, and this particular writing was all devoted to the month of March. But I loved some of his sayings, and I'm going to share a few of those with you. My mind needs constant newness. My heart needs constant cheerfulness. My life needs constant fullness. Only then can I ever become perfect. I am proud of my mind because it is a sleepless God seeker. I am proud of my mind. I want you to all be proud of your minds because they are God seeking. And I am proud of my heart. Be proud of your heart as well because it is a breathless God lover. The human mind searches for something strengthening. The human mind is searching for something strengthening. The divine heart longs for something soulfully lengthening. The mind is fond of God the powerful, the heart is fond of God the merciful, and the soul is fond of God the peaceful. They're all such beautiful tributes, just taken so sweetly from his impressions, from his meditations, from his depth of knowing the truth and uniting ideas. We need the mind. And we need the mind to be directed in such a way that the heart speaks the mind's truth, the greater truth. And we need this heart to express this love out into our world. And I share these words with you because I recognized in my study of heart and mind and preparing for a talk for you that it's all about yoga, because yoga, the simple word of yoga just means to yoke, to unite, to bring together. So you see, yoga is bridging the mind and the heart, pulling it all together. And Patanjali, one of the ancient scriptures, one of the first scriptures ever written, carries the same truth today that it did so many thousands of years ago. Our true nature, this is one of the sutras, our true nature is joy. And when we unite our consciousness in the heart, when we unite our mind, our consciousness into the heart, we abide in our true nature. We need to steady our consciousness in the heart. That's where the yoga comes in. And the yoga, I'm not saying you have to stretch yourself into different postures. That's just a piece of it, a part of the path, a part of the journey, to get your body so it's not so restless and uncomfortable with being in itself. But the true nature of yoga is to bridge body and mind in such a way. But if we're identifying, and this is the sutra that follows this idea of abiding in this level of a consciousness of joy, if we identify with the fluctuations of the mind and the play of consciousness, then we encourage our perceived suffering. So if we dabble and allow ourselves to dwell, to just follow the mind randomly wherever it goes, we end up suffering. Just as I started my own heart suffering, like, oh, what did I do to screw up my child about a brownie outfit? You know, I started to get all worked up inside when it was just a joyful play of a story. We need to really call our mind in such a way that we cultivate these divine qualities. That's what Reverend Pam offers to you week after week in spiritual practices in the meditation pavilion, and through her coursework, through offering the presence process, through all the classes that we do here, through the Hatha Yoga itself, through the practice of the postures that we invite you to join in. But all of this is to invite you into a place of spiritual practice so that you can hone in the truth of abiding in the heart space. A Spanish author has said this: trust your heart, trust your heart. It is the oracle that foretells what is most important. Trust your heart. Time and again, as I sit with people in spiritual conversation, when they come to me with suffering of their heart, when they're in a space where they can't quite see, they know the truth, but they can't quite see the truth. It's not joined in that place where they can operate from. I recognize as they speak to me, they already know the truth. They already are speaking their answer as they speak to me. But we cloud it with the what ifs, and I'm supposed to, and I've been doing this, and I've lived this groove for a long time. I can't possibly get out and escape this. But you see, trust your heart, because in that moment there is an intuitive voice There is within you as you the most beloved truth. And this is where, I think Mary, I was sharing this with one of my classes last week, because one of the things that she was talking about, the brain being the filter. Sometimes we think that the mind is up here and the heart is right here, because we call a heart an organ. But oftentimes when we speak about our heart, it is because things hurt in here and we feel our emotions in here. And so we go to this place, to the altar of our heart, and we point and we cover and we care for this place of our heart here. And we think, because our head just gets going sometimes, that the mind is right here. But the mind is consciousness itself. And it's just forever. It's forever there, the servant of the heart. And if we speak the divine word, if we are accurate with our word, and if we develop that practice of truth and speaking our word with clarity and love and compassion and allowing it to come from that place within, the word has power and the word has truth. And you can trust in that. And if you trust in that, it can harm no one. But see, then we start to assume, if I say this, they're going to do that, and if I do that, they're going to do this, and then we're going to be back there, and oh, I remember when that happened. But that's in the past. You see, that's another fluctuation of the mind. It will take you all over the place and make you frozen from moving into your true nature, into that truth. In one of Guru Mai's books that I was reading, My Lord Loves a Pure Heart, she's a devotee of Muktananda, and she speaks that the light in the heart has a white flame no bigger than a thumb. In the Upanishads, that's another ancient scripture, a being the size of a thumb dwells in the center of the body like a flame without smoke. This being is the Lord of the past and the future. He is the same today and tomorrow. This being is truly that. And we go, say what? I've got something there. Something big as my thumb. And I can't see it. I can't see it. It feels so dark and lonely in that space where they're pointing to, where all the mystics are pointing to this one truth. That's what we're pointing to here. That's what Ernest Holmes speaks to time and again in all of his writings. And so realizing through meditation, this primordial God, who is difficult to see, is deeply hidden, set in the cave of the heart, dwelling there in the deep. And so it is the wise person in you that chooses to go beyond sorrow and joy. When you're in the midst of whatever it is, you choose to say to a practitioner, to a minister, to a friend, help me see the light. Help me see the light, because all I see is darkness. And then as you listen to them, you see the moment, and you share that mirror reflection with the other person, because you share in a place of compassion and love. When you put yourself in a place there, your heart opens, and all you can do is share that light of truth, that flame that does not waver, that flame that does not screen what you're saying. So this supreme is higher than the heavens, yet it shines in the cave of the heart. You see, there is only, back then, clear back in the Upanishads, they're speaking of that one great light dwelling within you as you. We're saying it today. We're saying it today in every New Thought book, every New Thought teacher, from Eckhart Tolle to Wayne Dyer, all of them are keep pointing us back to the same truth that has been here time and again. And Ernest Holmes has done such a beautiful job in taking that philosophy and saying, hey, it's love and law. It's love and law. It's done unto you as you believe. Be the gatekeeper of your thoughts. Hone your spiritual practices in such a way that that's where all the words of your heart are spoken and delivered from. Have a good heart, pure and steady, holding grace, never wavers from its purpose. Even in death, it does not perish. The one thing you love about someone who has died, you will never forget that. Love never dies. It will never die. You do not have to fear it, clutch it, hoard it. Just let it be, because it will always stay forever filled with grace and moving through your experiencing, through your heart and through everyone that you speak to. Let your heart be a torch that guides you. That was some words of Guru Mai, and I thought, let your heart be a torch to guide you. Great beings, you see, great mystics, they spend their time gazing into the heart space. And I invite you into that practice. It doesn't have to be a whole ritual. It can be as spontaneous as, can you come up and do a blessing, and you can ho, ho, ho it. And you can just celebrate with great joy and recognize, I'm fanning the flame of joy. That joy of consciousness abides within me as me. But what causes this heart to suffer is something that is pointed through all the different writings, through A Path with the Heart with Jack Kornfield, through Guru Mai's work, through Muktananda's, through Ernest Holmes. They all point to what is it that creates this thick shell around our heart that encases it in such a way that we feel like, say, I don't feel that. My heart feels empty. I feel lonely and sad. These are all the impurities that can taint that heart space in such a way. There can be impressions from past actions. They can be enemies in such a way they speak to them as anger. Anger certainly can close down the heart, can't it? In just a moment of irrational. You know what anger does? You can feel it when you just get ticked off about something. You can physically feel it because you just go inside of yourself. What does that take to open that? A breath of compassion. And you fan that flame of the heart. Another one that kind of helps to create that crust around the heart is lust. If you're lusting after an object, wanting something so bad that you can't think of anything else because your mind just keeps being drawn to that which you want, and you forget the heart space beneath that, being too prideful, being jealous, having delusions, having greed. These are all the different things that can create a crust, a seemingly crust around the heart space. And as it collects all around the heart, we become unclear and unresolved. And then life anxieties about the future, we start to create worry and doubt into our experience. But you know what? None of those things ever touch the kernel of truth of the heart that dwells within you as you. Nothing touches that but love itself. And you must know that this is the core of your being. It is what Jesus spoke to so eloquently. That's why he was able to do such profound healings, because he didn't let these issues touch the very kernel and core of his heart. Meister Eckhart says, a man has many skins in himself covering the depth of his heart. Meister Eckhart, a man has many skins in himself covering the depth of his heart. Why 30 or 40 skins as thick and hard as the hide of an ox or a bear can cover the soul. But you know what can permeate all of that? It's a moment of just sitting with yourself in deep silence. And it's as if, as the musicians were clanging the bells, you can create that sound and just say, wake up, soul, because I'm about to attend to you. Can you hear that racket? It wasn't racket. It's beautiful music. My apologies. But can you hear that noise, that joyful noise? Because I'm about to center myself. I'm about to break through. It's as if we could just have one of those nutcrackers and crack the shell around the heart, and it bursts forward. And how do we do that? We come together in community. We sing song. We sit in meditation. We say prayer with one another. We join classes. We join community. And we walk as a band of spiritual seekers that are longing for a greater understanding, a longing for a greater truth. And we keep allowing that flame of the heart to burn so brightly that the shell around the heart can do nothing but fall away. It just strips away. And spiritual practice takes us to the stream of light, to the stream of consciousness. It's asking you, every time you sit in spiritual practice, it's asking you to discover your own innate goodness, to understand that you were born with a pure heart and a pure mind, that God dwells within the heart and the mind, and it is the gateway to know him. That was words from Guru Mai. When you become aware of how your subconscious mind retains all the impressions, that's just the nature of the mind, to retain all these impressions, thoughts, and actions. Then you come to understand the necessity of spiritual practice, Because you see, the mind can't help. The mind just has so much fun. It's a play of consciousness, as it's been spoken to. It can't help but have fun reliving the past, reliving the brownie outfits. It can't help but bring all that information forward. It's the play of it. It's the effort that it takes, though, in spiritual practice to cleanse your instrument, to cleanse that body, and allow just these precious truths to emerge through you. Keep directing yourself to stay on course with the heart. Jack Kornfield reminds us to bring your attention to the content of your thoughts. You see, because that's the spiritual practice right there. Mind to mind, where am I going? It just kind of, all over the place. Well, every now and again, use the sound of a bell, use a traffic signal, use the alarm clock as it wakes you up in the morning, not to just start letting the mind do its thing, but let it call your attention to what's on my mind, and learn to redirect it skillfully through wise reflection. It's mindfulness. It's not about worrying or obsessing. You watch yourself, pretty soon it's an easy track to get on, but you want to clarify your confusion and release destructive views and opinions. And you can ask yourself, you can stop that circuit by just saying, do I love well? Show respect. Can I show respect and loving kindness this day? Can I ease suffering in any way? Let go of our identification with the conflict of the mind and step back from all the stories of the mind. Step back from all the conflicts and all the opinions, because they're never going to end. You need to just catch yourself. Whoa, I'm on a ride here. And I want to direct my will. I want to unite myself with the one will, the divine will, and recognize that at the core of me is this flame that's no bigger than my thumb, that's burning brightly, that calls all the attention, has all the power, has all the knowing, all the love to completely recreate my world around me. The mind's nature, its very nature, is to think and divide and to move us around and through. But there's a mystery here, a mystery that is one that invites you always to just stop and sit in the silence, to dwell in the very nature of your being and to discover who you are in that space. I wanted to share something that Jack Kornfield says about this. In re-educating the mind, we can never be completely successful. So right there, you're off the hook. Oh, good. If he says so. The mind seems to have a will of its own, no matter how much we wish to redirect it or to direct it. So for a deeper healing of the conflicts of the mind, we need to let go of our identification with them. You see, that's the trick. So often when that mind starts to go there and we think, oh, there I am, I'm that again. No, you're not. You need to let go of your identification. To heal, we must learn to step back from the stories of the mind and the conflicts, because our opinions and thoughts will never end. The Buddha said, people with opinions just go around bothering one another. I can't imagine him saying that, but that's pretty clever. When we see that the mind's very nature is to think, divide, and to plan, we can release ourselves from its iron grip of separation and come to rest in the body and in the heart. In this way, we step out of our identification, out of our expectations, opinions, judgments, and conflicts to which they give rise. The mind thinks of itself as separate. The heart knows better. So the mind is the creator of illusions and separations and stories and memories. But the heart knows differently. There is an Indian master that put it this way: the mind creates the abyss, and the heart crosses it. The heart crosses it. So all of the sorrows that can arise in the mind's eye, in the heart space, we just turn deeper into the knowing of where the heart space dwells. And I wanted to share with you, they're holding a sign up for me, but I wanted to share with you a beautiful saying from Ernest Holmes. I have listened to the silence, and in the deep places of life I have stood naked and receptive to thy songs, and they have entered my soul. I am lost in the mighty depth of thy inner calm and peace. So I invite you in this season to get lost in the depths of inner calm and inner peace. We have so many opportunities to do this, to sit deeply and allow ourselves just to dwell in the presence of the One. The heart knows how hard it is to have peace, and the mind knows how hard it is to keep it. What I need is a conscious God awareness mind. What I need is a constant God oneness heart. God wants my mind to be a reliable receiver, my heart to be a reliable giver, my soul to be a reliable forgiver. I like my mind's inspirational smiles. I love my heart's aspiration tears. Aspiration. We spoke to you about that last week. Aspiration is truly the driving spiritual goal in your life. God's greatness, my mind admirably desires. God's goodness, my life devotedly deserves. God's oneness, my heart self givingly deserves. You deserve this. You don't deserve any more words coming at you to divide your mind in any way. You just need spiritual truth, spiritual aspirations, spiritual longing, a hunger in your soul for when you recognize in your own heart space. If you want to come on up and do some music, we're going to close with the treatment. If you want to really invoke that idea of dwelling in this heart space, dwelling in the heart space, you want to leave the ways that the mind can divide itself and recognize that there is only love. So join with me in this knowing as these two beautiful people take you on a journey through the sounds of the melodies of their music. You see, it softens the kernel around the heart, and the heart is wide open. And I invite you right now, in the sacredness and the holiness of this moment, to simply let go, to simply release the old patterns of thought, the old ideas that you've carried about yourself. Let them only be there long enough to inspire you to your greater good unfolding always. And recognize the divine light, the divine truth glowing brightly within your heart space right now. And this light is revealed as a mirror of truth. As the movement across the mind, as the fluctuations of the mind settle into divine calm, and a greater truth, a greater love is revealed right here, right now. Ernest Holmes speaks of it. Every mystic, every spiritual teacher, every spiritual guide, your own soul, has spoken this truth right here and now. So in this holy moment, in this sacred moment, let there be no further doubt that this light dwells within you as you, and the flame of this truth is fanned by the compassionate heart, by the love that is expressed by every word you breathe from kindness and truth. So I leave these words at the altar of your heart, because I know that your heart is wide open because you've chosen to be here this day. So celebrating this truth, we celebrate this season, recognizing it is about love. It is about rebirthing this idea of absolute truth within our hearts. I declare this as the word of truth. I know it is so for me and for you and for the world at large. Thank you, God, and so it is.
To love. Serve